Y'all, what if Jasmine Crockett is actually a GOP plant? Because she seems to be doing more damage to the Democrats right now than to Donald Trump. So Jasmine Crockett went on X and posted this. So it turns out when you don't go woke, you go broke. Trump's new DEI, dying economy, and inflation. It's only 2 weeks in, and Trump is making America broke again. And as you can see, she shared this article from Forbes, which shows that January jobs are weaker than predicted. In fact, it is the weakest start to the year since 2016. What Jasmine Crockett is trying to get people to assume is that the January jobs report is partially Joe Biden and partially Trump. And on the surface, that would make sense, right? Donald Trump was inaugurated January 20th. So presumably, the January jobs report would include 11 days of Donald Trump's presidency. But that's not how the job reports work. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics' own website, the survey reference period is the pay period, including the 12th of the month. This can vary according to an establishment's length of pay period, a factor taken into account when compiling the data. So, what does that mean and why is it important? Contrary to the name, the monthly jobs report, the initial data is actually only based on 1 week. They've been doing this forever. This isn't anything new. So they only measure 1 week via a survey, and they have a formula to extrapolate or predict what the rest of the month is going to look like. And that's part of the reason why the actual job results number that come out months later always get revised in both directions. One of the many factors. If you want to learn more about the reference week, feel free to pause the video and read about it here. Again, this is from the Bureau of Labor Statistics' own website. Now, let's just give Jasmine Crockett the benefit of the doubt. Let's say that the 12th either started or ended the reference week. So what would that look like? It would look like this, and that would mean that the reference week, the survey week, from which they created the January jobs report, was all Joe Biden. None of it included Donald Trump's second term because Donald Trump was inaugurated on January 20th, and no matter how you position a week away from the 12th, none of it ever touches the 20th. So when Jasmine Crockett was actually dissing Donald Trump, she unintentionally was slamming her own party. She was slamming her own president. Not a good look. And by the way, MarketWatch also ran an article on this January jobs report. And as you can see, the January report was effectively closing the book on the Biden era job market. And that makes sense if they only measure a week. So when Jasmine Crockett was dissing Donald Trump, she was accidentally, unintentionally slamming her own guy, slamming her own party. You can't make this up. And it's hilarious. People called her out on it on X, and there is now a community notes fact check on her tweet. Jasmine Crockett usually responds to a lot of people. If you go on the replies thread, she engages with a lot of people, and she went completely silent ever since she was called out for that. So just not a good look for the Democrat Party. They've been trying everything they can to slam on Donald Trump, and it is not working. It's not just Jasmine Crockett. AOC went on a podcast just this week, and now she's claiming that illegal immigrants are the reason that we survived COVID. And she's also claiming that once Trump deports them all, we're going to have food shortages.
And so if you want to be hard-nosed about it, understand that America's immigration force and our community of immigrants, including and especially the millions of undocumented people in this country, are why America has prospered, especially why we survived the COVID-19 pandemic. And for all of the people who cast a vote based on grocery prices and inflation, if you think your groceries are expensive now, wait until the farms are empty. If you think houses are expensive now, wait until there's no one building them. Understand the consequences of what this means.
A lot to unpack there. First of all, why are illegal immigrants the reason we survived the pandemic? I thought they were the party of science. I thought they were the party of vaccines and therapeutics. Or why isn't she praising Dr. Fauci? Why isn't she praising the NIH? Why isn't she praising researchers and physicians? It's because of illegal immigrants that we survived the pandemic? Really? What is she trying to imply there? I really don't understand it. Like, is it because they weren't following the social distancing rules like the rest of us were, and they were secretly working, just underground, keeping the economy afloat? What exactly is the inference you want us to draw, AOC? And then also, the insinuation about food shortages, food prices once ICE deports them all. A lot of things wrong with that. I am old enough to remember when Democrats were upset about people of color, dark-skinned people working on plantations, working, just gathering crops. I thought that was a bad thing. I get that being paid as an illegal immigrant on a farm isn't the same thing as slavery, but are you implying that the only job an illegal immigrant is good for is on a farm or working on a construction site? Is that not racist? Are you not implying that they're not worthy or capable of doing anything else? Also, why can't American workers take those jobs? Why can't someone like a high schooler or someone who didn't go to college and, didn't want to go to trade school, why can't they work that job? Why are you trying to take that away from American citizens who are struggling to find work, struggling to, do you hear yourself, AOC? Just like Jasmine Crockett, the answer is no, because their arguments are full of plot holes. They just routinely expose their own hypocrisy, the contradictions within their own ideologies, and in doing so, they just self-own themselves. The one person in the Democrat Party who appears to not necessarily be waking up, but at least be seeing the larger picture is Van Jones. Believe it or not, he's been sort of making sense on CNN. But whenever he is on independent shows, independent podcasts, he seems to really let his guard down and tell us more about what he's actually thinking. And he just said the quiet part out loud. Yeah, Donald Trump is a lot smarter than the Democrats give him credit for.
How the hell did Donald Trump figure out the mainstream media is the fringe and the fringe is now the mainstream? How the hell did Donald Trump figure out? I mean, Joe Rogan is obvious, right? Like, we knew the guy had a big audience. It's not like we were stunned, but how the hell was he, the 78-year-old guy who doesn't even have a computer and still writes handwritten notes? How did he become the guy who cracked the code on, to your point, running a cultural, I don't even want to say campaign, running
it was a movement.
Look, heading a cultural movement versus a campaign.
Every one of your people knows Elon. Listen. Yeah. So everybody keeps, the problem is you have a framework in your mind that, how can Donald Trump? Guys, can we cut it out? Donald Trump is not an idiot. Donald Trump, let me just be very clear. Donald Trump is smarter than me, you, and all critics. You know why we know? Because he has the White House, the Senate, the House.
Totally agree.
Court, the popular vote. He has a massive media ecosystem bigger than the mainstream built around him and for him, and a religious fervor in a political movement around him. And his best buddy is the richest person in the history of the world, and the most relevant Kennedy is with him. This dude is a phenomenon. He is the most powerful human on earth and in our lifetime, and we're still saying, well, how was this guy? We look like idiots to ordinary.
You're totally right.
Well, Van Jones, with people like Jasmine Crockett and AOC filling the leadership vacuum in your party, it's no wonder that Donald Trump is smarter than all of you. But as always, all of that is just my analysis and commentary. That is what's going on in the world of politics from my point of view, and I would love to hear from you. So what did you think about AOC's rants about illegal immigrants being the reason we survived COVID and the reason that we're able to eat and afford food right now? Do you think she'll end up being canceled by the woke radical left, or do you think they'll just turn a blind eye to what she said? Because what she said should be, fertile ground for attack, according to the radical far left wing of her party. I would love to see some more infighting, but who knows? Maybe they're going to try to get it together and try to keep their dissensions to themselves. But if this turns into an in-house fight, love to see it. If you haven't already, please be sure to give me a thumbs up. I know it's a simple thing to ask for, but it really does help me reach more viewers like you in the algorithm. Be sure to smash that subscribe button and to check out one of these videos.